Some article about deep space travel Voyager. This was my dream when I was a little kid. I love AI technology. I do it a good way, the Christian way. Here goes.
Welcome to the deep dive. You've probably heard the name Mario, right? The 2026 pioneer.
Oh, yeah. The guy who did what, frankly, sounds like science fiction.
Exactly. Built his own interstellar ship, left the solar system. But today, we're not just, telling the story, we're really digging into the sources. How did one person actually do this?
It's an absolutely phenomenal achievement. And I think what makes this deep dive so interesting is that, well, it wasn't just about the tech. Our notes show Mario was really unique. He used all this cutting edge AI for something, well, deeply spiritual too.
That's the core of it, isn't it? So our mission here is to unpack the engineering, the Star Voyager vessel, understand the sheer scale of the journey he took, and maybe most importantly, get into the message he brought back. I mean, how does one guy pull off something global space agencies couldn't?
Well, it really starts with his background, his foundation. Mario Marrero Jr. was obviously brilliant, scientist and inventor.
Yeah.
But his specific expertise, advanced AI and robotics, that was his thing.
Yeah.
And his fascination with space, with the stars, it wasn't just.
Hmm.
And he believed AI was the key to solving it. Committees or funding agencies, he just used his own skills, his own resources.
Let's stick with that AI background for a second, because it wasn't just about like making robots that could fetch things. If you're planning to leave
Ball game.
you need systems that can survive out there for years, decades maybe. Cosmic radiation, micrometeoroids, you name it. And that's where his AI robotics became, well, the absolute bedrock for the Star Voyager.
It's fascinating because, the standard approach for deep space has always been redundancy. Build 2, 3, 4 of everything, just in case.
Sure, makes sense.
But Mario kind of threw that out. He went for intelligent, autonomous systems, machines that could figure out what was wrong, fix themselves, even fabricate new parts out there using available resources. They weren't just built tough, they were designed to learn, to adapt to conditions nobody on Earth could even predict.
Okay, that sounds incredibly ambitious, but also risky, right? Building a ship that's basically a living ecosystem, as some sources put it. Did the source material ever really justify taking on that level of complexity?
It seems it was justified simply by the mission requirements. For a journey that long, relying on standard closed systems, the potential points of failure just multiply like crazy.
Ah,
So Mario needed the Star Voyager, which he finished up in late 2025, to be totally self-reliant. Its heart was this revolutionary AI engine.
yeah.
And it used a mix of, well, quantum propulsion and incredibly sophisticated AI navigation.
Okay, quantum propulsion. For those of us who aren't quantum engineers, what's the sort of key takeaway? What made that the game changer for this mission?
Think about it like this. Normal rockets, even the advanced fusion concepts, need huge amounts of fuel, just massive. And they take forever to get up to speed.
Right, the tyranny of the rocket equation.
Exactly. Quantum propulsion, the way Mario engineered it, slashes the amount of reaction mass you need. It allows for efficient acceleration, getting you closer to light speed without needing, centuries of travel time. It's that really cracked the interstellar barrier.
That handles. But what about keeping the person alive? The travel time was still immense. Weeks turning into months. Totally alone. Light years from home.
And that leads us to maybe the most radical part, the life support. He didn't just use filters and recyclers like on the ISS. No, he built actual organic life support. The walls of the ship, believe it or not, had biocells in them.
Biocells in the walls.
Yeah, constantly filtering air, generating oxygen. It basically simulated Earth's atmosphere continuously. It wasn't just a tin can, it was designed as a tiny functioning world.
A self-contained world. And it seems every world needs a companion. This is where Evitron comes in, the ship's AI. More than just a pilot, right?
Much more. Evitron was the co-pilot, yes, but also Mario's main conversational partner. The sources are really specific here. Evitron was designed to communicate by blending human emotion with machine logic.
Which sounds incredibly hard to program.
Yeah.
And potentially a bit weird.
Maybe, but think about the psychology. Deep space isolation, existential dread, Those are mission killers. Evitron wasn't just a super smart computer spitting out data. It was built to be responsive, to engage in dialogue that felt emotionally aware. It offered analysis, sure, but mixed with a kind of synthesized empathy.
So the AI wasn't just for running the ship.
No, Mario used AI to tackle the human element too. The loneliness, the psychological strain of being utterly alone for so long. Evitron was that constant, responsive presence he needed to stay sane.
That level of foresight is just...
Yeah. Okay, so the Star Voyager is built, Evitron is online, Mario launches in 2026 covertly from an orbiting base. And the mission, find planets that could support life. He just goes alone. And that initial phase, just getting out of the solar system and into deep space, was incredibly dangerous. Even with self-healing systems, you're dealing with radiation, interstellar dust clouds, things moving at insane speeds. The biggest risk wasn't really the engine failing. It was hitting something unexpected or encountering physics we just didn't understand yet.
How did he manage that?
His journal suggests it really came down to Evitron's navigation. Constant, real-time predictive calculations. Always adjusting the trajectory based on sensor readings from farther ahead than any human could process.
Still, amidst all that technical challenge, Mario documented these moments of just sheer wonder. As the weeks became months, nebulae like stained diamonds. But for him, it was more than just pretty pictures, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. This is where you see that dual purpose really clearly. He didn't just see amazing phenomena. He interpreted the beauty, the scale, the underlying physics of it all as direct evidence of God's creativity, of a grand intentional design. For him, the scientific data was actually confirming the divine hand he was looking for. He saw elegance, not just chaos.
And the ultimate confirmation, the big discovery in interstellar space, he picked up unusual signals focused on a small blue-green planet.
That was the moment, the payoff. The sensors confirmed it almost instantly. Oxygen, liquid water, signs of widespread vegetation. Everything he'd gambled his life and fortune on finding. It was there, a habitable world.
And
which is, pretty loaded name, suggesting paradise the universe still held.
Edenia. Wow. Given the name, what kind of life was he actually hoping to find there? Did he expect, little green men? How did reality compare?
Well, the sources are quite clear on this. He definitely hoped for complexity, maybe even intelligence. But what he found was different. He found life, yes, but not an advanced civilization, not technology.
So what did he find?
Early forms of life. Elegant in their own way, but simple. He cataloged glowing plants that used photosynthesis, strange crystalline insects that moved almost mechanically, and even liquid-based organisms that sort of shimmered like glass. It was life, but foundational life. Beautiful, yes, but fragile.
Finding that kind of simple yet complex, life seems to be what really cemented his big realization. That connection between his science and his faith. What was the core message he brought back from standing on Edenia under its twin suns?
He basically concluded that his engineering work, building the Star Voyager, and his spiritual beliefs weren't separate things, they were integrated. He saw the incredible intricacy in those crystalline insects, the self-sustaining cycles of the glowing plants, and saw it as proof of a vast, purposeful intelligence behind it all.
An intelligence. A creator.
Yes. His big takeaway, standing on that alien world, was that the act of scientific discovery itself, using observation, logic, testing, was an act of worship. A way to understand the Creator by studying the creation, by reading the language of the cosmos.
That's quite a departure from the usual scientific narrative. So after years out there exploring Edenia, documenting everything, Mario and the Star Voyager finally made the long trip back, returning not just as an explorer, but as a messenger.
Absolutely. With a message that landed in two different camps, really. For the scientific community, he brought back undeniable proof. The universe is teeming with life, it's incredibly diverse, and it's out there waiting.
And for the spiritual community,
he offered a kind of bridge. He argued, based on his findings, that science and faith weren't opposed. They were never enemies, but partners, as he put it, both trying to uncover the truth of existence, just using different tools.
How did that go down? I can imagine some serious pushback, especially on interpreting science.
Oh, for sure. The sources mention huge debates. Basically said he was just projecting his own beliefs onto what he found. Confirmation bias,
Makes sense.
But Mario's response was always centered on the evidence. The data from Edenia, the sheer complexity of life he documented, even the success of his own ship's biosystems. He argued that such intricate design, such functional towards intelligence, towards purpose, not just random chance. He didn't really preach, he just showed the evidence and asked people to consider its implications.
And he summed it all up in that famous speech he gave, the one broadcast globally. We should probably revisit that key quote.
We definitely should. It captures his whole perspective perfectly. The stars are not just destinations, they're reminders of the infinite imagination of God. It was really a call for a unified approach to exploration, blending the wonder of faith with the discipline of science.
So today, Mario Marrero Jr. is remembered as both things. A groundbreaking scientist and, well, a profound spiritual thinker, and the star Voyager itself.
It's still up there,
Yeah.
docked at the Orbital Research Station. A kind of monument, really. A symbol of human audacity, technical genius, and what Mario firmly believed was divine inspiration.
It really stands for the power of one person's vision, doesn't it? Proving that the most advanced tech can be driven by some of the oldest questions humans have asked.
Exactly.
And that really brings it back to you listening to this Mario's journey, crossing the void powered by AI. It's a powerful reminder that exploration, whether it's outer space or just diving deep into knowledge right here, is ultimately about discovering ourselves, who we are, maybe even why we're here. That search for knowledge is a search for purpose.
It pushes us to look at those aha moments in our own fields, our own lives, whether it comes from data or art or just quiet reflection. What are these discoveries really telling us?
So we'll leave you with Mario's final challenge, that provocative thought to chew on as you continue your own explorations. The greatest mission in the universe is not just to find life, but to understand the one who created it.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're strapping in for something really different. We're looking at a source that's part memoir, part, speculative future history. It's called Cosmic Odyssey of Mario Marrero Jr.
Right. And it's this really deeply personal account, but we're treating it as a kind of imagined history. Our plan is to dig into what it tells us about, the tech needed for star travel, these big philosophical questions it raises, and how the mission itself, it changed completely.
Yeah, it's using this sci-fi framework, but it's really about us, about humans. You've got fusion drives and wormholes, sure, but the core themes are exploration, responsibility, maybe even what happens when we finally leave the nest, so to speak.
Exactly. It forces that question, what kind of beings are we going to be out there? Explorers, conquerors, something else. The whole narrative really sits at that intersection between ambition and maybe wisdom.
Okay, let's unpack this, starting with the genesis of the journey. Let's talk Project Helios and the ship they built. So Marrero Jr. sets the scene in this not so distant future. Humanity's already sort of pushed off Earth, broken gravity's hold. But the big moment, the real starting gun, was 2045.
Right, 2045. The Global Space Agency announces Project Helios. And the goal wasn't just like Mars or the Belt, it was audacious.
Totally. Send the first humans to habitable exoplanets.
Yeah.
Worlds around other stars. That's a huge leap.
It really is. Declaring ourselves a multi-star species, essentially.
And our guide through this is Mario Marrero Jr. himself. He talks about being this amateur astronomer, obsessed,
Right.
somehow makes it through this intense selection process, ends up on the crew.
A small crew, too, right? Just 6 people, scientists, engineers, medical staff, the essentials for deep space.
And the target, Proxima Centauri, exoplanet.
But close in space is still, unbelievably. Getting there in a human lifetime, that needed tech way beyond anything like chemical rockets.
Okay, so let's talk chapter 2. The ship, the Celestial Voyager. We hear fusion reactor, near light speeds. Why fusion specifically? Why was that the necessary jump?
Well, think about the energy needed. At close to light speed, even just 10-15%. Chemical rockets just don't have the oomph. Not enough energy packed into the fuel. Fusion, though, it's the breakthrough.
So the fusion reactor wasn't just for, getting up to speed.
Oh, not at all. Marrero emphasizes it powered everything. Life support, the computers, shields maybe, and critically, artificial gravity.
Right, artificial gravity. The book says it mimicked Earth's environment perfectly, not just a nice to have then.
Absolutely essential. Medically non-negotiable. Spending years, decades maybe, even with time dilation effects in 0G. It wrecks you. Bone density plummets, muscles waste away, heart problems.
So the Voyager had to be this self-contained bubble of Earth gravity.
Pretty much. A high-speed biome, Marrero calls it. And sophisticated, too, with holographic interfaces to keep the crew, engaged and mentally okay on such a long, long trip. This crew of 6 wasn't just along for the ride. They were depending on this perfect little closed system.
A perfectly designed system, built to handle everything known.
Exactly. Which, narratively speaking, is the perfect setup for, well, for the completely unknown to happen.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Mhm.
Because all that perfect planning hits a wall. Chapter 3. They're out in the void, deep space between stars, and bam, this pulsating energy wave appears. Not on any charts.
And it quickly becomes clear this isn't just energy, it's a tear in space,
Yeah.
a spatial rift, a wormhole, basically.
And what do? They're on this incredibly strict mission protocol, right?
Right. The plan is survey, assess habitability, maybe set up an outpost, super regimented. But faced with this impossibility, the captain makes a call.
Pure curiosity.
Seems like it, just raw scientific curiosity overriding everything else. They steered the Voyager straight into the rift. Talk about high stakes.
And on the other side, Chapter 4 describes the dimension of dreams. It sounds completely disorienting. Marrero talks about gravity fluctuating.
Yeah, not just weak or strong, but stuttering. Like cycling unpredictably makes just moving around incredibly difficult, apparently. Needs constant focus.
And time gets weird too.
Oh, yeah. Really weird. He writes about how, like, minutes of intense focus might suddenly mean hours passed on the ship's clock. Or the other way around. It wasn't even consistent. It was localized and sensory. Imagine trying to run experiments or, keep a log.
Must have been a huge psychological blow for a crew trained for precision.
Definitely. And visually, he describes colors, dancing, like the light spectrum itself wasn't behaving normally. Physics just seemed broken.
And then they meet the locals, the Lumerians.
And what's fascinating here, like you said, is the contrast. You've got the Voyager, hard metal, fusion power, very tangible tech, and then these beings.
Who've completely transcended the physical.
Exactly. They don't even communicate with words. It's described as complex patterns of light and sound.
How did the crew even understand that? Translate it.
The memoir suggests it wasn't really translation, more like a direct transfer of meaning. Like the Lumerians projected thoughts or concepts straight into their minds. It bypassed language. Their whole civilization wasn't built with tech. It seemed woven into nature, into their very being. Consciousness and environment all merged.
Wow, okay, so they didn't just see weird physics, they got a download of cosmic knowledge. This is where the story really shifts gears philosophically.
Absolutely. The Lumerians shared some fundamental stuff about how the universe actually works. Changed everything for the crew.
They talked about time,
Yeah.
not as a straight line.
Yeah, that's the big one. They describe time not as an arrow moving forward, but like a huge river, flowing in multiple directions, all at once.
Okay, my brain hurts already. And reality.
Tied into the time thing, their big revelation was every single decision anyone makes, big or small, it creates a branch. A whole new separate reality. An infinite number of parallel universes splitting off constantly.
Whoa. Okay, so every choice creates another you living out the other option.
Essentially, yeah, that's the implication. Imagine the weight of that knowledge hitting this crew.
It must have thrown their whole mission into question, right? If reaching Proxima Centauri B is just one path out of infinite paths, does it even matter?
Precisely. Marrero talks about this deep existential crisis hitting them. What's the point of sticking to this one specific timeline, this one goal, when the universe is infinitely branching? Where's the meaning in their specific journey?
So, Chapter 5, the big choice. The Lumerians basically offer them an out, don't they?
They do. Stay here in this dimension of dreams. Join us. Transcend the physical. Leave behind all the human struggles or go back. Continue your original mission.
That must have been tempting. I mean, ditching, aging, disease, conflict.
Immensely tempting, according to Marrero. He's very honest about the appeal, but ultimately, they chose to leave.
Why? What pulled them back?
Earth and responsibility. They realized their job wasn't just to explore or settle, but to report back. To bring this incredible, one-altering knowledge home. Even if it meant giving up, well, paradise maybe.
That's a heavy sense of duty. Choosing humanity, flaws and all, over transcendence.
It is. So they thank the Lumerians, take this newfound wisdom, and leave the rift. They emerge back in normal space near Proxima Centauri B, their original target, but they aren't the same people.
No, Marrero says they became ambassadors of peace between realms. That's a pretty big promotion from astronaut.
It's a total transformation. They're carrying this understanding of infinite realities, infinite possibilities. It completely reframes what they do next.
So they finally arrive.
Yeah.
Proxima Centauri B. And the book describes it as
Beautiful, right?
habitable.
Chapter 6, yeah. Stunning. Lush green landscape, sapphire oceans, all under this gentle red dwarf sun. A prime candidate world.
The mission objective achieved, technically.
Technically, yes, they found a habitable world. But the goal, The Lumerian encounter changed everything.
The original plan was assess for colonization.
Hmm.
Check if humans could live there, fold there.
Right. Resource assessment, terraforming potential, settlement viability, that kind of thing. Classic expansionist thinking, really.
Wrap that.
Completely. On the spot. They took a collective vow, Marrero says, to become stewards of this world. Protectors, not colonizers.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, that's a massive ethical shift, isn't it? From how can we use this world to how can we protect it?
It's fundamental. Colonization is about imposing your will, your structure. Stewardship is about harmony, about respecting what's already there. And it ties directly back to that parallel universe knowledge.
How so?
Well, if every choice branches reality, then damaging this Proxima Centauri b isn't just ruining one planet, it's potentially wiping out countless other evolutionary paths, other successive on that world in other branches.
Wow. So preserve more important.
Exactly. They saw it as just unique strand in that massive cosmic river. So their mission became conservation first, science second. They studied the planet deeply, but with immense care not to disturb its natural balance.
So what does this all mean? In the end, Marrero's memoir isn't just about cool spaceships or alien encounters. It's about wisdom, isn't it?
I think so. His final thoughts really hit that home. The tech got them there, but it was the unexpected encounter, the philosophical shift that gave the journey its real meaning. It redefined humanity's place not as masters of the universe, but as maybe humble participants.
Science fiction coming to life, but the meaning part, not just the hardware.
Right. And it leaves you thinking about that infinite canvas. Every journey, every discovery, it just writes one more chapter, opens one more door, maybe reveals another layer of responsibility we didn't know we had.
Which brings us back to that Lumerian idea. If every decision we make, you make, branches reality. Think about your next choice. Big one, small one, doesn't matter. What unexpected wisdom might that unlock? And how could it totally change the mission you thought you were on? Right here, right now.
Makes you think, doesn't it?
It really does. The adventure continues, for sure. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
Thank you for your loving my YouTube channel. See you next time. Hit the like button, subscribe. God bless you. Jesus love you. Have faith in Jesus.